Evening. Hello. All right, I'm gonna get started. Um, Not gonna wait for others to join, just because I want to keep this under 30 minutes. We are starting the TDD session. Um, if you watched the previous videos or you with us last week or 2 weeks ago, we'll start doing these, getting these more consistent. For now, it's gonna do every other week, and I think that's gonna be a good game plan to practice some TDD with Ruby. If you don't know, this is the Ruby Newbies. We do have a site, rubynewbies.org. There's some standard setup stuff to do if you want to participate, or if not, you can just join by entering the chat. I think, yeah, and it looks like the Q&A is not set up for the moment. I didn't have any people on the sidelines waiting to get in. So I can't actually set it live while the progress of the video is going, but we'll just jump in. If anybody has questions, you can always ping me on the main page, which will be, I think this events page will say if you do want to answer a question or ask a question or provide some feedback, just throw it here on this events page. If not, I'll just work through this. I might be fine solo today. Just again, I had to make a schedule change yesterday. Some unforeseen stuff happened, and I had to postpone it till today. In 2 weeks, we'll proceed with doing the Tuesday nights again. But for now, we'll just have to work with it. So, TDD session. It's a 30-minute session. I'll include some of this time for explanations too, since it's the second time. If you need access to the TDD practice questions, if you go to github.com/Ruby for newbies, I understand that might be blocked. No, I think you can see that. Yeah, that's the GitHub, and it's got the standard setup if you want to go ahead and practice on your own. I said I was going to add it to the site, but I did add a link to the Nitrous box for anybody who wants to join. We'll then bring you here to the Nitrous. You cannot see it unless I add you to the group. So if you once you sign up for Nitrous using this big circle here, Nitrous logo, sign up and then provide me either GChat, email me email me your Nitrous user, and I can add you during the week, and you'll have access to it for the live chat if that's what you would like to do. If not, you're more than welcome to provide feedback through the chat window in Google Plus, or jump on the Google Hangout and provide your feedback. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and move into what we're going to be doing. So here's Nitrous. If you haven't used it, this is it. Let me just check real quick, see if anybody's had any issues. Cool. Where was that? So yeah, this Nitrous, this is our last week's problem here is with the calculator. I left it as is, didn't actually update the progress because I actually didn't add any progress to it. Some of the other things, I actually doing some things outside of Ruby Newbies. For one, I had to go to the Bahamas, which I know sounds horrible. So I was in the Bahamas all weekend, did not have time to or have internet access to update anything for Ruby Newbies. So if you see on the site, we still have last week's presentation that's still up. I haven't updated that yet for the new presentation I'm going to be doing next Tuesday at lunchtime. And I never got a chance to add the Nitrous box link just due to time. And then this weekend, I have actually got the Global Day Code retreat coming up this Saturday. If you are interested, I highly recommend you guys looking up to see if there's an event in your area and check it out. I am obviously going to be doing the Orlando one. If you guys didn't know, I'm in Orlando, and I highly recommend you guys check it out if you are available. But moving back to this is what we did last week, but standard. It's just working through a problem using TDD. And we had some steps. We wrote some tests. Sorry, that's this week's test. Last week's test here. Yeah, and that is it. So, new thing this week. Last week we did the standard mini test. This is going to be a change, standard mini test methods. I really don't like those, and I don't really use those in any project that I have. So I actually switched to the it and the should syntax for mini tests, which is slightly different, but you're more than welcome to look up the different syntaxes. And to even change it up more, I'm actually going to change next week to actually to be RSpec, so that way we can get a couple different fields for testing DSLs, and then maybe make a decision on what we want to stick with from here on forward. But for the time being, we will be doing mini test this week, and we'll use the it in the should syntax. So if you watched last week's video, you'll understand what I'm doing here. I highly recommend skimming through that. Um, Best thing about YouTube is you can do 2x speed if it's too slow for you. So I'm just going to call the test, and I'm going to do like a TDD fashion. And I have a failing test. The failing test is because it cannot load such file change. There's no file change. And if you see here, did the same thing last week. I just need to have a file called change.rb. So if I run the test again, now I have an error. So that's basic TDD for you. I like starting that way, just doing as little code to get test passing as possible. I guess that's the goal. So now if you see the constant change, I now need to create a constant called change. And again, if you're watching on the video, feel free to send a message and let me know if anything I do is not right or if there's a better way to do it. Because from my experience, there always is a better way. I usually write the bad code first and then refactor later. So the idea is red-green refactoring. Normally in RSpec, it makes it so much easier because you can just add RSpec-color, but I don't think you could do color for mini tests. I probably should check that before. Actually, you can do mini to pride. Which I think, yep, it's a. Sorry, bear with me. Can we require pry? Wow, they're readme. Oh. Oh, well, you know what? We'll just try this real quick. If not, we'll move on. This might not work. I might have to do a gem. Oh, how about that? It worked. So I've got some pride going on. So I guess I'll leave that in from now on. I wonder, I won't do that now. But I wonder if you could actually make better error messages, which would be great. With RSpec, you actually do an expect, but I'll stop talking about RSpec for now. So since we got that working, now we want to get this test to pass. So we have an undefined method, make change. Now, again, last week, I created a module-like class, which is not best practice Ruby. Kind of get stuck into doing this for small problems because at the moment there's undefined method make change, but I have make change, and change has no idea about this. So what I usually do is just throw self in there because the expectation is basically calling change dot make change, which is a class method. And to make this a class method, you can add self to it. But there is a better way to do this. I know some people have better ideas of how to do it and would love to share. Um, if you do have a better idea for this, please leave a comment about this, and I could maybe do a blog post on the reason why, rather than doing self, you'd rather want to do something like um, calling an initialize method, and then rather than self.change, you can call change.new in your test file. But that just seems like a lot of setup, and it's not the practice that I've been using, which I know is not the best practice, but for the moment, we're just going to get the test to pass. Oh. Following through TDD, wrong number arguments 1 for 0. We need an argument because if you look at the spec, and I will close this chat, and I think I can close this down. No, maybe not. So I don't want to do full screen. Oh yeah, so I was getting at we're passing a 0, so we need to have an argument. So what I wait, how's this working? Change. You know what? I should probably change this first. I had this as change, but I changed it to coins in the example because I felt like coins made more sense. But then I also think coins is probably not the best. But maybe I don't really like it being coin, because usually classes are singular. But I'll just leave it at coins for now, just for readability. I know I probably shouldn't have been refactoring code when I still have failing tests, but that just made sense for me. So now we have a coins method that's calling coins.makeChange and need to pass in a number. But I'll call it value for now. And if you see here, we've got a fabulous run, pretty speedy test, and we have once run 0 assertions because I don't have an assert. So before I was actually getting errors. Yeah, I was getting errors and not actually failures. And that's because I actually had legitimate errors. And now and then I had an assertion, but no failures because I wasn't actually asserting anything. So I had 0 assertions. So that was a mistake on my part, which I fixed in the example on GitHub, but I did not fix it here. So I need to. All right, so now I have a failure. First failure before we had errors. So it should provide empty hash if passed in chainspect.r8. So it needs to equal hash.new, and I've got nothing there. So the easiest thing to get it to pass would be that. So now I have a passing test. So if we go to the README, which I apologize, I never actually showed in the beginning, which doesn't look great here. Let's go to the README on GitHub. So we expect coins.makeChange to equal empty hash. And if we have coins.makeChange 1, it should equal the hash P, and it should be 1. I don't think I actually even explained the problem. My apologies. So what the idea is is that we're going to have coins, and we're going to pass in a denomination of coins, which was our value. And when we call coins.makeChange, we're going to get 1 penny back. But if we have 43, a value of 43, we should get 1 quarter, 1 dime, 1 nickel, 3 pennies. And if we have coins that are 91, we should get $1/2, which is a 50-cent piece, a quarter, a dime, a nickel, and a penny. So basically, we're going to do some sort of method to check how many times a $1/2 will fit into 91 cents, and so on and so on and so on. So that's what we're basically doing. I apologize for not setting that up in the beginning and letting you guys know, but yep, that's what we'll be doing. Um, so we've got that. So now we just need to write a new test. We've got a first passing test. So it should provide a, let's just do the expectation. If it's 1, it should provide a penny. Penny back. If the value is 1. So, and this is just writing the test in the new syntax. So assert coins dot make change 1 equals, and this is what we're expecting. Now I had the old 1.87 syntax in the example, but I think I'm going to do this. We're expecting a hash to return with P in the value. That's correct. Actually, let's just do this because I think I'm on Ruby 2.0 anyway, so no big deal. Where's my nitrous box? We'll just return this. What's exactly the test? It's a T in my cert. So idea is writing a failing test and then getting it to pass. So now we have a failing test because we did not get that back. So now we need to write code to make that work. So in order to first we'll refactor that to work, which it did. So I just put a guard clause there. Just to check, I guess. If it is 0, then they return that. But then I will do some, we'll just go with the if statement. If anybody's got any objections, we just have one viewer. I apologize, I didn't do the Q&A. So if you did have any objections, I highly recommend if you want to join the chat, join it. And if you want to mute yourself and just use the chat online to let me know any objections, feel free. But if not, enjoy the ride. So if the value equals 1, because we're only doing enough to get this test to pass, then we want to return literally that. Now this is going to be actually, we probably could have well, this will pass. I mean, I probably could have just put this, but actually, we'll see if this passes. I don't know if it's going to pass. It did. So now, this is not going to be very good code because we're going to need to future-proof it. So we could either refactor it later, but I actually probably recommend refactoring now. So we've got this guard clause that if we have a value of 0, it returns an empty hash. But maybe we ought to actually just have something called wallet that returns a hash. Maybe that works. Yep. So rather than dealing with this a random hash that's not doing anything, we can actually now do a check to, so value equals 1. Then we want to add that to the wallet. Can you, I don't know if you can do that. Like, no, you can't do that. Can you do dot merge? Yeah, okay, so you can do dot merge. So that works. Should we leave it like that? If so, I think we probably should still refactor because I know once we get into, and we're doing okay on time. Yeah, I know once we get into the actually dividing and checking for other pieces besides the penny, this is going to be a problem. So we should probably do if value. Yeah, it'd be great if I had feedback live, or else I'm just trying new things. If value goes into 1 and the remainder is 0, now that how is this going to work? If value, you know what? Actually, this will be our last. We'll work. We'll work at the test later. Okay. So this works. Let's just actually write another test to make this work better. So it should provide a penny and quarter. If value is 26. So that way we can start actually checking the values of these nominations. And I realized I did some practice with this earlier in the week, actually last week. And I think there's a better way to do this with a constant. But we have literally 5 minutes to get this done. So I'm just going to go with this method of checking it. Unexpected syntax error. Let me just check the README. What syntactical error did I make? Oh, 25. No, 1. Okay. All right. So we got a failure because we haven't done that yet. So now I just want to, if I have a value of 26, I want to be able to pull out 1 quarter and 1 penny. So the value of, so now I actually have to do, rather than that, I'm actually going to do if value 25. Oh, you know what? Maybe less than 25. So if it's less than 25, take the value. So I want to be able to take the amount of quarters and add that to the wallet. And then I also want to take the remainder and check to see the next step. So that way I can check the remainder here. So just gonna write some code since I only have 3 minutes left. If the value is less than 25, take the value divided by 25. Which is, yeah, this is not going to be great, but I'm just going to call this a non-quarter value. Yeah, I could spend all night trying to name these properly, but so I have a non-quarter value. No, that's not going to work. Let's just add the quarter first. So the amount 25 goes into I might have to do IRB on this. So I've got 26, 25, 1. Okay, so that's what I want to do. So Q. So wallet dot merge. Closing this properly. All right, so now I've got a wallet.merge adding in that, and I needed to deal with the remainder. So remainder is yeah, this is not going to be very redundant. Very redundant code, but the idea, I guess, is to refactor later. Not very proud of this. Oob. Man, oh boy, this is not great. Oh well. Quarters valued at 25. Wow, look how crazy this code is getting. All right. So I've got a remainder. So then that way, actually, that's going to make everything else fail. Man, I just ran out of time. So I'm actually going to get this last test to pass, and then I'll call it quits because I'd hate to leave it like this. But so if the value is less than 25, we will have quarters, and then we can actually pass in quarters here. Should work. And then we will pass in value 25, which is not quarters, but non-quarters, which will be quarters value minus 12, which will be the value. Actually, we can actually call this value. So the value so quarters oh no, 25 times quarters. I'm definitely going to want to work on this tomorrow because I think I have an idea how to do this with a lot less code, but I am afraid that I have way too much to do. I don't have enough time to work through that. When you're not timed and you have all the time of the day. So what I'm trying to do here is to explain it if this does fail. I have the amount of quarters, which is the remainder, So how many times the value goes, 25 goes into value, which should be good because quarters will merge into that like I did here. And then I've got the new value, which will actually be value minus. So I don't need this code. And this will actually be here. Ideally, you wouldn't write this much code and not run tests. I am trying to work this through my head. So then I'll merge the quarters in there, and then it should step through and then merge in the pennies, which this will work, but it actually isn't. Yeah, it looks like someone just joined. Hey, if you want to type in some better code, that's awesome. I'm going to run the test for now, though. Syntax error. Else if, else. Nice. Uh, hmm. Oh, I don't need to do that. What I do need to do is pass in value. Broke. Failures. So what happened? So I'm not getting a penny back, and I'm also not getting the proper amount of quarters back. Man, that stinks. Okay. Well, let's see here. Still not getting what I need, even when I faked it. I don't think this wallet is actually doing what I needed to do. It worked here, but it's not working here. So I'm gonna have to end it there because, like I said, it was 30 minutes. If you have an idea of what's going on here, let me know. If not, I'm actually gonna work through this a little more and do it offline rather than stumble through on live television. Not really live television, but yeah. So the process is actually going to be, I will push to the progress branch. Ooh, look at that. GitHub broke. Everything's broken. You know what? I figure I know what's wrong. It's because I haven't pushed the actual make change to the progress branch. But I'll push the progress that we have so far to the branch. So you'll see it on the progress side, but it'd be in the make change folder once I push it. And then we can do either pull requests or we can leave comments on my pull request that I'll do probably tomorrow, maybe lunchtime, and walk through the solution for this problem I got stuck on, and then also the overall solution, which hopefully I'll get to. I will probably do something very different from what I started because I already have an idea of what I need to do instead. Um, yeah, I appreciate you watching, and definitely if you have a chance, join us next. I keep saying next in 2 weeks on Tuesday to see if we can solve our problem together. Thanks.